guy doesn't have a degree. This guy has a high school diploma. He told me he's making 3 times what I was making. Initially, I didn't believe him. So I requested to see his pay slip. He was kind enough to show it to me. At the time, I'm talking about, I was making approximately 75,000 US dollars, approximately. With benefits, it will go up there. So this guy was making over $200,000 at the time. And I was curious how he did it. So he told me, let me tell you guys the exact words, that I learned it at the basement. the kind of job I do, I learned it where? At the basement. And so I said, all right. What I did that day was to write down the amount he told me. I wrote it down on a paper. I went home and I made sure I placed that paper where I will see it every morning when I wake up. The reason I wanted to be seeing it every morning was because I wanted that conversation to shape the way I plan my day going forward. The way I think about the career that I'm in and where I need to be moving forward. Good enough, he shared with me exactly what he studied, what he learned. And so I put some research into it as well. And I started the journey almost immediately. You know, there are many people who have information, but they don't action on it. But Kingsley, please be on mute. Kingsley, be on mute, please. So our actions on the information that I got almost immediately. 6 months after, we'll get to what it takes. So I don't want to tell you exactly all the actions I took, but we'll get to that. 6 months after, I went to my first interview. In my very first interview, a manager told me, I've been interviewing for this role for the last 3 months, and I haven't seen a candidate as strong as you. That I don't typically tell people what I'm about to tell you, but I will refer your name to HR. That you did well. First interview. I haven't interviewed in IT before then, not even a mock interview. And so I started getting offers. I could get like 10 of them in a week. And then now I'm confused. I also have a problem. What kind of problem do I have at this time? Don't unmute. Just put a note in the chat. If I have 10 offers in a week, what kind of problem do you think I have? A note in the chat. Somebody say good problem. Excellent. A problem of choice. They say good problem. Absolutely. So, from the 10, of course, I selected the ones that I wanted to stick to. Now, when I started working, remember, what did I say motivated me to make the decision to get into the journey? The motivation was one thing, the money. I was doing very well in accounting. I will go to the office in the morning. If they don't see me, they will look for me. Even when I decided to leave, more than 3 managers spoke to me. They tried to convince me to do what we call, I will match whatever they are paying you. But I could not even start telling them what the amount was, because I knew that I had to also review what the profession, because it is nearly impossible that I can jump from 75,000 to 200,000 for a single job. It's nearly impossible in finance. So there was no way I could tell them that this new job that I'm going to pay me 200,000. They thought that is one of these things that I have a new offer that has added $10,000, $15,000 on top of what I was making with them. So the only thing that motivated me initially was one thing, money. But when I started working, I realized that in addition to the money that the career is bringing to me, there was a lot of flexibility. Flexibility number one, I could work from anywhere, from home, office, or even out of the US. Meaning that I could stay home with my kids and deliver on their job. Flexibility number one. Flexibility number two, I am the one who cap my own salary. Nobody caps it for me. It is only after you interview me that you can decide how much you pay me. There are jobs that I interviewed and negotiated $250,000 for a single job. That wasn't the case in finance. In finance, before I start, they would tell me $75,000 a year. You good for it? Let's start. This time around, they said, no, come to do the interview. When we're done, then we'll discuss salary. There are jobs where I negotiated at the beginning with an HR point person, accepted $170,000. When the interview concludes, the HR calls me and say, we will pay you more because the people who interviewed you said that you're at a different level, so we have to pay you another $15,000 plus bonuses. Okay, like these are not things that I saw in finance. Flexibility number two. Flexibility number three. If I had lost a job in finance for any reason, it would take me an average of 3 months to find another one. In IT, it takes me 1 week. That means there is no break in my pay. When I realized these benefits, I told my wife was a nurse. She wasn't a nurse yet. She was studying in Prince George's College. I told her, you have to abandon that thing. I told my brother, whom you guys will be meeting tomorrow, he's in Canada. I said, I know you work ashore and they really like you there, you bring in the money in. But how much do they pay you again? He told me, I said, okay, it is time for you to make a critical decision and abandon that thing and come here. I told my brother who's a pharmacist, I know you make some decent money as a pharmacist, but what if I gave you the same money or twice with much more convenience than you standing behind those counters? What would you think? He joined. I told every family member and friend that I've seen something that will help you to stop surviving but start sustaining. And they listened. I trained them. Within 3 months, almost all of them were on jobs. Now, when they got jobs, their friends of friends, now started calling that, can you also train me? Can you also train me? Can you also train me? In between, I went to take a certification exam. And a certification is essentially getting a license. Like nurses will get a license, right? Certification exam. So I went to take a certification exam. It wasn't even related to what I was doing at work, but I needed it for something else called rehab. So after the certification exam, I met a few other people and we network, we exchange contacts. So later that evening they called me to find out how the exam went, and I told them, yeah, I succeeded. And they said, oh, we didn't succeed. Is there a way we can come over, you just prep us, let's see how you prepared, so that we can go to take the exam. So they came over, and so that expanded the conversation now. So I shared with them exactly what I was doing. But I prepped them for the certification exam. They went and took, and they succeeded. And then they called me, said, the way you prepped us for that exam, this AWS thing that you're doing, we've been hearing about it. Every company is already talking about it. Is there a way that we can put some small money together, maybe $300 a month from each of us, and then you train us as well on the thing? I say, well, that's very kind of you guys, because since you guys are the one proposing that, you come and give me $300 to train you. Why not? Join. I have family members that I'm training. I will add you guys to the group. And so that is how a few other people joined whom did not get directly connected by family members. Within 3 months, more than 95% of those guys were on jobs. And in the third iteration of JJ Tech, in the third, what I would call the third batch, although I call it the first batch, because that is when I made it official that, okay, I'm now training. I started with about 90 students. 90 students, because for everyone who got a job, they brought their spouse. That's the first thing that happened. And then if they had a brother in America, they brought their brother. And so the numbers quickly grew from about 30 to 90. And then from 90 to 300. And from 300 to sometimes now in a batch of 500. And people say, are you going to manage? I'm like, okay, what if I tell you that, okay, I will not take you because I only want to do 50 students? How will you feel? So definitely not good. But we've set up a process as we were scaling. We're learning lessons. As we learn those lessons, we improve on the process. Anybody who have gone through this program, people who gone through the program 3 years ago, will tell you that the process today is better than what they saw 3 years ago, although the number was smaller. People who went through the program just last year will tell you that the process this year is a lot better compared to what they had last year, even though the number this year is bigger. So we learn along the way. So even as you are starting the journey, one thing that I would expect is if you find anything that you feel like is not working the way you think it should have been working, be authentic and channel that to us. Remember, not by distracting the class. Because if everybody tries to make suggestions in class every day, then the agenda of the class will never be completed. So that is not what I mean. It has to be done through the right channel and at the right time. I know that all of us here will have so many opinions. So many opinions. They will come up. But try as much as possible to lower your anxiety. Don't be so anxious. Take down the suggestion. Channel it at the right time. Not during class time. So, the product that you guys see today, I call it a family. A family. JJ Tech family. Because the product that you guys are consuming have been refined multiple times based on the JJ Tech family, people who have gone through the program. So on that note, when you join the platform as well, you become part of that same family. So welcome to JJ Tech family to begin with. Now, let me tell you what family means so that you understand exactly what that means to us when we say welcome to JJ Tech family. When you have a brother, when you have a sibling, and that sibling is in need, what is the expectation? You respond. When you have a son, and the son cries out for help, what do? You definitely want to render help. That's what family means. That means when you join the platform, those who have been here before, who recognizes that this platform have been able to transform have been able to make meaningful impact in their lives are more than willing to make sure that they go above and beyond to also hold another person's hand. That is the spirit. The people, the tutors, the mentors, the coaches who are coordinating, who are working with you guys throughout this journey, know that you guys are coming from different backgrounds. As a result, you may not be at the same level when it comes to your skill sets. Some people will get it faster. Some people will get it at a slower pace. But because from the time you joined the platform, we know you have become part of that family. When you have a son who is not fast, do you throw away the son? What do you think you do? You exercise empathy. Put yourself in that son's shoe. He's just a child. I need to help him to grow up and get better. Similarly, when you join the platform, that is the way we look at you. When you are not a child when it comes to age, but you are a baby when it comes to this journey. You are just starting. We need to help you to start walking and then eventually start running. And you cannot do it in one day. So every time we work with you, these values, we are guided by those same values. That has helped people from various backgrounds in the last 5 years, including taxi drivers, nurses, security guards, accountants, pharmacists, and what have you, to transition smoothly from those careers into IT. But remember, we cannot do that alone. And that is where we now get into what it takes. We cannot do that alone. We need what?
Family.
Collaboration.
You need family.
We need you to also be our family member. Very good point. Because if I consider you as my family member, you don't consider me, I'll be working hard, but I'll be doing slavery because while I'm struggling to pull you, what are you struggling to do? Pulling the other way.
I know, right?
So we need collaboration. So let's get into what does it take? What are the things that you need to start doing from today, not tomorrow, not a day after tomorrow? What are the things that you need to start changing around you? So let's get into what it takes. Before we get into that, I just share with you guys what motivated me. I would like each of you to just drop a message in the chat on what motivated them to make this very important and significant decision to join the platform. What motivated you? Just a note in the chat. Don't be a very strong factor as to why you are here. Or are you just following the wind because you heard that people are doing IT, it's time to do IT? What is your driving force why you are agitated? To begin with, most of us, for the most part, have been surviving, whether you know it or not. Sometimes we don't even realize it. Survive. You bring in 70,000 in a year, 70,000 or 80,000 goes out. You have a debt of 10,000. Second, then following year you bring in 80,000 in a year, 85,000 goes out. You have a debt now maybe of 15,000. The one for last year plus the one for this year out there. But you're living a good life though. Because
Come Marvel for me.
To make sure that you feel good. But is that the kind of life we want to live for the next 15, 20 years? Definitely not. It becomes even more cumbersome, more complicated when you have kids. It becomes more complicated if you are somebody who actually have empathy for the family that you have back home, particularly those of us who are coming from other countries. You didn't come here just for yourself. You came here to say, well, when I make it, then I'll make sure I assist my family. From time to time, you send them $100. Are you really assisting them? Let's be honest. No. The $100 is just.
Радио.
Please be on me.
Yep. Radio'ndur.
Mohammed, please be on me. So, from time to time, you send them $100, but you are not actually doing what we call, you want to get this guy set up. You are not doing it because you don't have the means. That's the truth. That is the truth. We survive, we struggle, and we don't realize it. If you did not know what this platform would do for you, the very first thing it will do for you is that it will take you out of that struggle. You'll be swiping your credit card without first checking your account balance because you know that there is money.
Listen.
It will be green all the time. You will swipe it without blinking. If you want to give your wife a gift and you want to buy what we call Louis Vuitton, for instance, maybe 2,500, you will swipe the card. It will be debit card, not credit. If you are using credit, it will just be for security. But you know that when you go home, you will just wire the money and pay it without thinking multiple times. That is motivation number one that should get you started, because you need a motivation. You need to be looking at that number. Do I want to keep my family in this secular flow where money comes in, everything goes out? Money comes in, everything goes out. Or do I want to take my family out of the secular flow and get my family to a point where I can plan for my kids' college? I can plan for my own and my wife's retirement. I can take care of my younger brother and say, think about a career, I will sponsor you all the way. Think about a business, I will fund it. I believe that there is no human being who will not want to live a life where by the time you get to 80 years, or 70 years, or even 65 years, you shouldn't have to worry about how your bills will get paid because you plan for it. You shouldn't have to worry about your kids' college. Oh, somebody will say that there are debts. If you are able to help your kids avoid everything you went through, elevate them, and say, I know,
don't waste water,
debts, but you don't have to take debts. Don't you think you build a solid foundation for them, better than the one you have? So motivation, you need that motivation. Money. People who have kids, particularly those who are married who have kids, we struggle with that quite a lot, where you want to step out and your husband have to go to work. And then you have to think about, oh, where do I have to drop off the kids? This, maybe my friend. You call, my friend is not available. Okay, what next? Nursing, whatever. This particular industry that you're getting into will save you that headache. Since 2016, before COVID, I've not been to anybody's office. It's my office. If I come to your office, I'm coming to socialize. One day, meet you guys, put some faces to names that I know you are a little bit at a personal level, and come back home and continue working from home. That means that if my wife needs to go step out, she doesn't need to think about where to drop off the kids because I'm home. That flexibility, you get it. It is difficult to find in any other industry, any other career. Very difficult. IT offers you that. It has offered many people that in the last 15 years, we didn't know. Many people were doing it. So if you didn't think about that, that is another key motivation to get you started. The world itself is going digital. There's an evolution. Everything is going digital. Everything. Don't you think that will be a great esteem if you are part of that evolution?
Yes, sir.
If you are part of the new norm, because everybody now knows that this is the new norm. If you are the guy behind the screen who is building what people are consuming out there, don't you think that is a great achievement for you? There wouldn't be any better passion. It's just like a nurse. You save a patient, and how do you feel? Excited. I succeeded. Everything is going digital. You guys are providing real world solutions to critical problems that are facing companies, governments, and what have you. You are solving them. So at some point, even if you are looking for a passion to actually help humanity, this is also a good place to be. This is also a good place to be. So number one, identify what is driving you, what is motivating you. Hold it very closely. Hold it very preciously, because the reason you need that is because from time to time, there will be challenges. Nothing good comes easy. If any of your friends told you that when you come here, in 6 months it's just automatic, that you're good, go back and talk to your friend that Prof. Jespo said that is not true. There will be challenges along the way. You need so many things to keep you moving. One of the first things you need is, what is my goal? What is my objective? That's the first thing. Are you willing to just abandon the goal? Do you think there's a better option out there? Think twice. From the time you join the platform, tell yourself that there is no second option. This is the only option. That's the first thing. Don't have a second option. This is the only option that will get me to that goal. If you make that determination.
Recording in progress.
If you make that determination, that is when the other things that we're about to discuss when it comes to what it takes will be possible. You will materialize them. What are those other things? Now I will share with you guys what it took me. I'm listening attentively at this point. From the day that I made that decision, that I'm transitioning, I had to restructure my life. I had to restructure the things that I do on a daily basis. It cannot be business as usual. It cannot be business as usual. Number one, I had a time window in a day. 4 hours to be specific. You don't have to do 4. 4 hours to be specific, but you don't have to do 4. You can do 2. It has been tested. If you do 2 hours every day, you will achieve the same thing that I achieved. But I was doing 4 hours in a day. That's a lot. If anyone thought that 4 hours is just 4 hours, is a lot based on everything people have going on, particularly in this part of the world. It's a lot. For you to get 4 hours, it takes guts. That means you need to make significant trade-offs. You need to make very difficult choices. If you are a very sociable person, many people know you. So many friends, which is good. Unfortunately, during this journey, you probably have to cut some. Unfortunately. If you are somebody who is in the habit of attending every good event, like baby showers, cultural meetings, these are all very important things, don't get me wrong. There's no choice but to cut off, reduce some of those things from today. If you are somebody who spends a lot of time on Facebook, and all of us are addicted to it today, it is time for you to say, hold on Facebook, I will see you in 6 months. I will see you in 6 months. Up, deleted. I cannot force you, it's your choice, but I'm telling you the things that needs to be taken off. So your calendar needs to be cleared so that this important journey gets introduced. You have an unofficial calendar. Everybody have it. Your friend send you an invitation, it's add to the calendar. Cultural meeting Saturday adds to the calendar. Facebook browsing adds to the calendar. It is time to clear the calendar and introduce what? This journey in your calendar. That's the second thing. The third thing, when it comes to what it takes, all of us here are very mature people, and we all know a lot. But we have a process here that have worked for more than 1,300 people. And if you have people on the platform, feel free to ask them. That I said, this process have gotten more than 1,300 people on tons of jobs, because some of them are doing 4 jobs. So it is working. It is not perfect, but it is what? Working. Submit to the process. Be humble. Be coachable. Don't come with arrogance. That is not to say that don't speak up. There's a difference. That is not to say that don't ask questions. That is not to say that don't complain. All these are important things to do. But you can do all of this with humility. If, for instance, you have a situation where you need to take off from class for 2 weeks, who can tell me the right thing, the right approach that will follow? Just raise your hand if you can tell me you want to take off from class in the next 2 weeks because you have an emergency, which is normal. Nobody plans for it. It happens. Somebody has said it. Communicate. Communicate. When you have a mentor, we now have a relationship, whether you like it or not. That relationship needs to be respected on both sides. You'll be surprised that when you communicate, because I might have seen such a situation before, and I will give you ideas on how to navigate why you are away. I can plan for your return because I now know that one of my students whom I'm supposed to serve is away. I can plan. Maybe I have something coming up. I check on you and I say, this thing is coming up when you return. Can you plan to jump into that class so that it gets you up to speed? I can plan that because you communicated. That's just an example. That is part of humility. If you're so full of yourself and say, I don't need to tell anyone, it's my life. Yes, it's your life. But at this point, we share a common goal. For us to achieve that common goal, we need to work together. So humility comes in, and humility brings a lot of things. Occasionally, say, no, I cannot just live without talking to my mentor. Let me first of all just tell my mentor that you don't
This
even
class
disclose the
you need to
circumstances.
join.
Yeah, your personal thing. Even I don't disclose them when I'm talking to my clients.
Yes.
But I tell them that I have some emergency. I may be away for 2 weeks. While I'm away, what do you think? Guess what? Sometimes they will say people are here to serve you,
AWS, I'm done with.
respect you. Speak up. But at the same time, you also have to respect them. It's not because you pay us 3-5 that, okay, you can put me on a call and say, this your thing is all rubbish. That is not communication. Will you say the same thing at work? Definitely not. Nothing from you. It's important. So respect the process. I will tell you guys what some of those processes are, so that you know when I say respect the process. Number one, you guys have classes 3 days a week. Before you enrolled into the program, you were well informed about the schedule.
Oh, they gave me a red one too. Is there a red one in the house there?
As much as possible, be available. Attend those classes.
You learn this one.
As much as possible. It's part of the process. That's why we always want these videos on. I can tell if something that I'm about to communicate, you guys are not getting it. I start looking for different ways to get it across to you. Because you are in class. If you are not here, I'm unable to tell. I cannot connect. So, number one, participate. Attend the class. Please, don't just come and put on your Zoom and then go away, take care of things, and come back after 1 hour. You are as good as not attending. Particularly in the first 1 month. You are.
Continue this way. Aziz.
Mary, please be on me. You are as good as not attending. Don't be drinking wine. Guys, I know we are adults. While you are attending the class, don't do it. Pretend that you were in a live class. Pretend that you were in an in-person class and be actively involved in that class. But participate in class. Take note of that. Participate. Be there. Don't just turn on your Zoom and be doing your other stuff. Number one. Number two. In addition to the classes, we are going to have a couple of workshops. About 8 workshops in total in 6 months. The objective of those workshops is threefold. Number one, during the workshop, unlike the regular class sessions where the tutor is the one doing the talking, in those workshops we interact with you more or less like professionals. At this point, we transfer some skills to you, and we want to see how you would interact with those skills. So we can pick people at random and take a technology and we discuss it. When we do that, it helps us be able to assess where you guys are when it comes to those things that we've taught. We're doing more or less what we call retrospective. We are making sure that we don't wait until 3 months into the training and then realize that you guys have not gotten up to par where we expect you guys to be when it comes to mom number one. So that is why we interact as opposed to me just coming in and still pouring out what I have done at work, transferring the skills without assessing where we are with what we've done so far. Number two reason for those workshops. Many of you here haven't been in the corporate world or corporate America or corporate Canada or corporate world generally before. You have not been there. That means you may be doing very well when it comes to the skills we are transferring to you. You are really getting them. But if you were to be having a technical conversation because you have not done it before, you are unsure what to say and what not to say, structure and all of that. So during those workshops, we also start training you on how to handle technical conversations so that eventually, when they start coming up, you know where to get started. The third reason for the workshop is now to make sure that the processes that we have laid out are actually working, are attaining the objective for which a process was designed. So we retrospect whether you are technically growing, we retrospect whether the processes are working to help you technically grow, and then we build you towards the final phase, which is where you actually talk to a manager, a potential hiring manager, to get you on a job. These are the key reasons why we have those 8 workshops in 6 months. The third part of the process number 3, we will group you guys into small groups of about 20 students. You guys will be put into small groups. Each of these groups will have a group coordinator, assistant coordinator, group coordinator, assistant coordinator. The expectation is that you guys as a group will come up with a suitable time, a time that works for the group, for you guys to also connect every week at minimum. The same things that you learned in class, this time take turns and train each other. Tell each other how much you understood. Tell each other where you are weak, the topics you are weak on, and get help. That is your playground. That is where you are able to uncover, even before the workshops, if there are gaps. Don't be shy. Who are you shy with? You're shy for what? Speak up in those small groups. We want to take us through what we covered yesterday on this topic. I should see 10 hands up if we are 20 of us in the group. Everyone should be willing to speak up and tell, be able to explain what you've learned. Be open, be authentic, and say, I actually thought I understood this, but now, having listened to you, can you help do some additional simulation? Can you do a refresher on the simulation that was done in class? Our first workshop will discuss how those small groups can be structured by each of your group, by you guys, the group members, for you guys to be productive. You need to plan. That's the first thing. There's a saying that if you fail to plan, then you're planning to what? To fail. So in those small groups, you need to plan. Then you need to present. Then you need to retrospect. We'll understand more what goes into each of those items once the small groups are set up, and then we'll organize a workshop where we explain how you can structure the small groups to make each of you very productive during those working sessions. That was process number how many? Put the number in the chat if you were listening. Process number how many? Excellent. Now, as we start moving towards the end of the journey, as we start getting towards the end of the journey, this may come early into the journey as well for some people, but I expect this process number 4 to come in towards the end of the journey. We will expect each of you to work with us, JJ Tech, to come up with a resume. They also call it curriculum vitae, CV. A resume that outlines your skills, the skills you acquired during the training. If you don't know how to get started even after training, don't worry. We are here to help you. As part of that resume preparatory phase, don't send out any resume that is not reviewed by JJ Tech resume review team. That's an important process. As we start moving towards the end of the training, we will start getting into what we call interview preparations, interview preps. This time we want to be connecting with you guys as a group or as individuals to now help start building you to a stage where you can go out there and take interviews. Make sure you fully participate in those interview preparatory sessions. Let me tell you the tendency and the pattern we've seen. You come for an interview prep, and then we call your name, like take a turn and tell us about yourself. And you say, I cannot do it. Do you know why? Because you are scared to make mistakes. Hold on, why are you here if you knew it already? Anybody who laughs at you online because you made a mistake doesn't know why you guys are here. People should laugh, frankly. You should be happy when people laugh, because it means that at the end of the day, what will happen? You will get feedback and develop yourself, and by the time you come back on the same question, you are not the same person. Is that not true? Be engaged during those interview preparatory phase. We are adding a key aspect that is called interview support. Follow the process when it comes to that as well. At a high level, there are many people online who, even after acquiring these very important skills, after going through interview prep, there's still a lot of anxiety. I've not done it before, I may make mistakes. We now have a system where in your first few interviews, we support you. You take the interview, we are at the background, we watch it, and we see how we support you. That is part of our process. The first few, remember, once we get you on job number 1, during that interview support, we are not getting you on job number 2, you are getting it alone, because at that point, you have seen how we help you navigate the process. Make sure that you submit to these processes. One other important thing, if at any time you feel overwhelmed, you find any of the topics you are not challenging, don't run. That is the reason you are here. Begin by talking. Of course, that I'm assuming that you're following the process. Because if you are not following the process, you will find it overwhelming all the time. But I'm assuming at this point that you are that guy who is actually following the process. But even with the process, you still find some things challenging. Just talk to me. Feel free to talk to any tutor or any mentor who will be serving you in the journey. Tell them exactly what those challenges are. Don't drop. Don't be scared. Because we have seen similar cases before where some people find some topics challenging. But at the end of the day, we identify suitable resources within the platform. Maybe the same person or a different person to work with you at this time at a personal level, individual level, and help bring you up to speed. But that will not happen if you just drop, and then 4 months after you call me back and say, I dropped 4 months ago, but now I want to come back. You know what is making you to want to come back? Because 45-50% of people online are now getting jobs and they are calling you. They say, hey, Stella, I haven't heard from you for a while. You know I'm on a job now, right? And then you're like, hold on. I mean, I knew Stella. In class, I was probably even doing better than Stella. I need to come back. Why did you drop to begin with? You've wasted 4 months. Don't drop. There shouldn't be a second option. That means including what? Dropping is not a second option. Don't give anything a chance. Tell it anything that comes to mind that no. The only thing that I know is what? Getting the goal for which I set out for myself attained. And because I have the support that I need from this platform, because you are going to get it. I'm not giving anything else a chance. That is our simple process. That same simple process that I just described. If everyone online, 233 that are the people that I see online, if everyone online submit to that process, everyone online will get a job 6 months from today. I'm guaranteeing you. If everyone online submit to that process, everyone online will get a job 6 months from today. I know somebody is saying that, but did you keep the job somewhere? The jobs are so many. Tons of them. Those who know how to use Google, go to Indeed, and I will give you some keywords. Just go search. Go to Career Builder. I give you some, go search. I will refer you to companies myself, and they will call you and talk to you. I will send you the job myself and say apply to this, and I've already spoken to the recruiter, and he will call you. But I cannot do that if I know that when I refer you to a company where I have a relationship with, now you don't even know the difference between a boy and a girl. What you learn on the platform. It's as simple as that. Then I'm like, okay, you are my student. I really like all of you, but I have to also be careful to make sure that people stop accepting people that are referred to them. They'll say, no, you send somebody here, even to get started, the person could not tell me about where it come from. Right? The jobs are there. If you follow the process, we get you on the job. There's no ambiguity. Have you used a computer before? No, it doesn't matter. Have you read about AWS before? No, it doesn't matter. Submit to the process and I get you where? On the job. Now, from explaining the process, I believe I've told you guys what our commitments to you are. Did anybody catch that? Did anybody catch what our commitments to you are?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, yes.
Alex.
Yes, sir. Yes, we did.
Got it.
Yes,
Yes, we got it. Yes, I did.
Got it.
Yes.
Yes.
I got it very well.
Thank
I
you,
got it.
sir. Yes, I did. Thank you so much.
Absolutely. Thank you so much.
Jespo. Excellent.
Thank you, Prof. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much. Very much. Prof.
So once again,
Thank you.
welcome. So once again, all welcome to JJ Tech family. I'm very excited personally that you made
Oh my God.